What's up, everybody? Making sure we all get logged on here and get everything started up. I'm playing with my phone for a second. What is up, Rodney Hagan? Okay, all right. Well, it looks like we are live. Good news. What's up, everybody? Matt Holt here for High Society Off-Road and driver of the Hyperactive Rock Bouncer. I wanted to kind of go through some stuff and talk about some of the 2019 race season and some of the stuff we had happen and some of our goals for 2020. And I thought it'd be kind of cool to kind of talk about it and kind of go over some stuff and kind of cover it all. Obviously, we're usually kind of racing through the year, so it's kind of nice to kind of sit down at the end of the year and kind of take a breather and kind of cover some stuff and kind of look at things we did well and look at things maybe we could slightly improve on. So I just want to kind of go through that and run through it pretty quick. So obviously in 2019 we started out with KOH King Hammers. Obviously we'll be going back to that, and I'll talk to that here at the end about some of the stuff we're doing for 2020. It was obviously kind of interesting. We loaded up a truck and trailer and put the rock bouncer and a support vehicle inside and hauled all of our toys through all of our tools, all of our spare parts in the trailer, and hauled them from Decatur, Illinois out to Johnson Valley, California, in the middle of a desert lake bed. So it was a pretty awesome opportunity to go out to California and race. That was my first time ever driving to California, period, in anything, much less a diesel truck and a 40-foot enclosed trailer. I drove out there, and a buddy of mine flew out there. He hung out with me and helped me tune the stuff, and we did some shock tuning and went out and just had an absolute blast. Our support vehicle was a Geo Tracker, so that's kind of exciting to see a Geo Tracker just pimping through Hammertown. It was probably the only Geo Tracker there, probably. I mean, it did have a 4-to-1 kit, and he had like 29.5-inch tires, so it's, don't like to brag, it's a pretty big deal. So, but it had a great time. Went out, we drove it. It was like a little mountain goat. We drove it around out in all over Hammertown. We obviously drove it out there. Went to Chocolate Thunder back door and remote pit one. We did some other cool stuff, just kind of checking out the races during the 4400 class, and then obviously through the week, and that was super awesome. It was a super, super awesome experience to be able to go to King of Hammers and compete. The backdoor shootout, in my opinion, is kind of like the Super Bowl. It's one of the most awesome things. If you guys never seen the backdoor shootout, it's where the Southern Rock Racing Series, like East Coast drivers, bouncer drivers, go ahead to get against some Ultra 4 guys. Now there's even some Havoc guys starting to filter in from, like up north in Canada area. And obviously when you get those three different types of rigs together, it's bananas to see how the rigs compete differently, and yet the times are pretty similar for the guys who are able to complete. I mean, it is really, really fascinating to watch some of that. And the backdoor shootouts, it's so exciting because it happens right in front of you, where like a 4400 class or the desert racing class, there's so much stuff happening all over. It's so hard to see and sit and watch kind of all happen. With the backdoor shootout, you can literally back your truck up, get the cooler out, get some snacky snacks, and sit and watch the entire thing. It is so, so awesome. It's super blast. So that was kind of how we kicked off our year. Went out and raced at that. Had a lot of fun with that. Got to hang out for the King of Hammers. And it was just an absolute blast. I enjoyed it so much. I met a lot of cool people. Obviously, Warren Winch is a sponsor of ours. They're a sponsor of Ultra 4 Series as well. So they were out there, hanging out, shaking hands, kissing babies. They have a VIP area that is kind of pretty exclusive. It's pretty sweet stuff. And they have some pretty cool features out there, and that was kind of cool to be a part of some of that. I actually get to pick up some stuff and bring it back with me from Warren, so that was pretty cool. And then obviously, additional to the King of Hammers, some stuff that we were able to do is obviously our goal was to be able to do the full series, the 10 Race Cup Series, the Southern Rock Racing Series, as it used to be called. Now it's actually the National Rock Racing Association. It's a 10 Race Cup Series. There's 3 Northern, there's 3 Central, there's 3 Southern, and then there's finals at the end, and that makes up the 10 Race National Championship. And it's pretty incredible. And with that, this year, this was our 3rd year competing in that, in like I said, in a nationwide racing series. And I had set some pretty good goals I wanted to achieve. One of them being an Ironman. An Ironman is an award you get if you make all 10 races, which is really hard to do, both time-wise plus financially. It's a very big commitment to be able to go to all the races, to be able to attend all the races, to be able to see them all. So it's a pretty big deal. as well as I had a couple other things I really wanted to do. I wanted to finish in the top 20, which was obviously going to be pretty hard to do. The competition is very, very incredibly steep. So finishing in the top 20, it was going to be something we were going to push for, especially with maybe not so much horsepower some of the big guys got. I mean, we got guys that are 1,800 horses that are just incredible buggies that are just, and obviously Timmy's always going to be on the top of the podium somewhere. There's a couple of guys out there that are just so competitive. And then there's some new guys like Jay Storts and Larry Krog came out this year and just absolutely crushed it. Both of those guys I have the utmost respect for. They came out and just knocked out of the park. So finishing the top 20 was going to be something I really wanted to do, just because it's so awesome to be able to finish in the top 20, just because there's so much competitiveness. Obviously, each year we look to get better. We want to be in like the top 15, top 10 next year. That's when our goal. We have some really cool stuff coming up in the future, and for the buggy, which I'll get into in a couple weeks, we have some cool announcements coming out with some sponsors we're working with, and we have some buggy upgrades that I'll talk with about probably the next couple weeks coming up. So the Ironman, that was one thing we wanted to do. The top 20 we wanted to do, and then obviously I'd always either broke or rolled over or caught on fire or all three of which at a race. So I wanted to be able to complete both courses. Obviously that's something that is pretty common obviously for the big dogs, but it's something I hadn't been able to achieve yet, due to some technical stuff, plus me obviously learning to be a better driver. So that was something I wanted to accomplish. And the cool part was the first, being able to complete new courses, I was able to do it the very first race of the season. Texas, we came out and just absolutely had a great time, blew it out of the water in course 1 and course 2, and was able to really set a good time on both and have a lot of fun at that race. There's some huge tall hills and kind of a jump at the end, so it was a lot of fun, and was able to get out and just crush that. So I was able to kill that in the first race of the season. I ended up finishing 21st overall, so I missed my goal by one spot. So that part was kind of obviously a little heartbreaking to race all season. But we did at finals it's 2 days of rock racing, but there's usually 3 or 4 days of different stuff going on. And I broke on the first day of racing. I broke both rear axle shafts and a front axle shaft. So we broke a lot of stuff, which I was kind of funny. I was able to tell Bubba Bacon that I did break both rear axle shaft, which he said was not possible. And then he made the joke, especially with 200 horsepower, which obviously he was being ornery, but it was kind of good to be able I did break both shafts. So it was kind of ornery, obviously, to be able to tease him. There was a couple of things that were really awesome this year I was able to do. I got to do some of the live feed stuff with the Hillside Live, which was pretty cool. Like I said, we broadcast all of our races over the internet and Facebook. There's a couple other different outlets that are broadcasting them, and that was super cool to be able to deal with Dave Z and Bree Molitor, which was super awesome to get to hang out with those guys, and they do a killer job. And so Dave had to miss a race, so I was able to fill in with him a little bit, and then also do some the live feed and the announcing, which was an absolute blast. So there are a couple cool races kind of stuck out in my head. Probably one of the funnest ones was Dirty Tour Off-Road. It was the last race before the break, so we got to go out and kind of really have a good time, play with it, and kind of break some stuff. We broke our front axle shaft on the first course, so I was able to kind of just send it and not care about it on the second course, and that was a lot of fun. And so I went out, raced hard, had a good time. I ended up breaking, rolling over, but it was a lot of fun. The race after that was Flat Nasty. My brother was there racing that one, and we both had we were both able to get out there, have a lot of fun, set a good time. I ended up having to leave that race. They ended up loading the rock bouncer and getting all loaded up, and I hopped in my rig, rode back with my mom so I could make my literally. I mean, as soon as we finished the race, brought back, dropped the rock bouncer off, jumped in the vehicle with my mom, and flew back to Decatur, took a shower, and went to my class reunion, and barely made it there on time. So that was kind of interesting. Some other cool stuff we did this year. We did the Texas and the Tennessee, both the Texas and the Tennessee Unlimited Offer Expo, and that was super awesome. We did some mud drags events. We did a Truck Gone Wild event. So that was pretty awesome. We did some Jeep events, which was a really good time. We did some parades, some local mud events. I was going to go to the PRI. Obviously, we announced our sponsorship with Jet Hot there. They're an exhaust coating company, so we were super excited to announce that and kind of come out and do some cool stuff. So that was kind of our race season. We did a total of 20 off-road events this year. We actually loaded up the Rock Bouncer and took it to 20 off-road events this year. And we did a total of 19,028 miles. So we did almost 20,000 miles pulling a trailer to different off-road events, of the 20 off-road events we did. And that was what we took the Rock Bouncer to. That wasn't including anything else we did outside of that. We went to the FabTech show this year. We went to the PRI show this year, so neither one of those counts towards our 20 off-road events. That's just what we took the Rock Bouncer to. So I know there's a ton of guys out there that are out there just crushing it with doing a ton of rock racing events as well. And it's so exciting to see how the off-road community is growing, and it's such an awesome part to be a part of that. There was some other cool stuff that happened this year. Jeff and Nicole, a friend of mine, got married. My buddy Tony races a micro. He won $2,500 at a big feature race, which I tried to get him not even to go to and come with me to an off-road event, so to see him win was super awesome. We got to do some charity events, which was super cool. Like I said, we did a FabTech and PRI show. There's a lot of fun. We got to hang out with those. Went out and goofed off with some people every night, and that was absolutely a blast. So looking forward to 2020, some of the stuff we're going to do is a lot of people have asked about King of Hammers if we're going back. And yes, I am going back to King of Hammers. I won't be racing at it this year, but I get to announce now that I will be announcing it, the King of Hammers, this year during the backdoor shootout. So Miles approached me about halfway through last year when I was doing some announcing for the Southern Arc Racing Series and said, hey, would you ever be interested in coming and doing some stuff with the Ultra 4, like during the backdoor shootout, because you obviously know a lot of the drivers, you're very familiar with, who built their rig and what do they run, and if their grandma's sick, so you're very, very tight with a lot of those guys and very, it's very knowledgeable. So would you be interested in doing that? And I said, absolutely. It's so awesome. I'd love to be able to come out and do that. So I'll be doing the backdoor. Me and Miles will be doing the live feed for Facebook for Ultra 4 for the backdoor shootout, which I'm super excited to do. It's a great time to kind of hang out, and obviously not everyone can drop everything what they're doing and fly out to California. So it's kind of cool to be able to talk to all the people out there that are not just tuning in from my home state or my friends and family, but people that tune in from all over the world to watch King of Hammers. And it is such an incredible thing. Like, so the backdoor shootout to me is super special because it's like, it's similar to like if you took all the best players in the NFL and all the best players from like baseball and like pit them together. It's literally, it's like the Super Bowl and the World Series like go head to head against each other. So it's some of the stuff that's the drivers come out and literally, I mean, you spend thousands and thousands of dollars getting your rig there and paying your garage fees and registration fees and food and fuel for everything. So by far, it's the most expensive. I tell people it's like, imagine if you spent 10 grand or 20 grand or 25 grand to haul your stuff out there, go out and goof off, and you're going to race for 20 seconds. It's like spending $10,000 to go ride a roller coaster for 20 seconds. So it is going to be the most incredible, awesome 20 seconds of your life, So and that's one thing, like a lot of drivers know that. So they absolutely let everything, they leave it all on the line. They go out and run full tilt and just go 110%. So it's super, super awesome to see that. So I'm pretty excited to be announcing that, and that'll be a lot of fun. Like I said, it'll be cool to give some guys shout-outs, and I know there's people that tune in, not just locally, but people that tune in like all over the world to check that out. So I'm super, super excited to be doing that, and there'll be some cool stuff we'll talk about probably more as it gets closer to that. And I'm sure we'll do some stuff in the pits where we talk to drivers, talk to sponsors of the events. I know there's a handful of people that race, but also have off-road shops that sponsor, whether it be a manufacturer, whether it be some marketing people. So that'd be kind of cool to get to hang out with them and kind of talk to them about the live feed. We might even have I'm sure we'll have some random guests show up, so that'll be kind of cool too. And then we have some more buggy upgrades coming from 2020, which we'll be talking about here real soon. So that'll be a lot of fun. So I just kind of wanted to give everybody an upgrade of what it's going to look like for 2019 and, like I said, 2020. And we have some other cool stuff we're in the works that will drop out soon. So I just wanted to let it, I had a ton of people messaging me about King of Hammers, so I wanted to kind of let everybody know, yes, I will be out there, and I won't be racing, but I will be doing the live feed. So I'm sure I'll be running around the pits, saying hi and goofing off and hanging out with all my friends, trying to party and have a lot of fun. But so I will see you guys all out there. Like I said, I'm sure I'll probably goof off plenty and cause lots of trouble out there. But So without that, I'll hop off. I just want to give some updates, and it was a pretty awesome season. Like I said, I hit most of the goals most of the goals I set. I was able to hit for 2019, and that was super awesome. So thanks to all the people who have made that possible, all of the sponsors we deal with that are super awesome. Clyde and the whole Southern Rock Racing Series, all the guys I race with, all of our media people, Mad Ram 11, Busted Knuckle Films, High Octane Films. There's 3 or 4 picture guys, Black Dog Media, Deep Hats Photography. I know I'm leaving somebody out, I'm sure, but there's several guys out there that really just help make. I always say they help make us famous. By obviously I can't pay a professional photographer to come sit on a hill randomly and take some snapshots as I drive by. So we really appreciate them coming out and kind of showing some love and really obviously making them look good. So I'm sure we'll have some more stuff coming up here in the next soon before we head out to King Hammers. But so until then, whatever you do, do it 100%.